Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of the Sports Tea Podcast. Today, staying with the NFL, we had two big trades today, both involving very, very bad teams trading to very good teams for some valuable wide receivers and some valuable picks. So, let's start with the Denver Broncos. So, Denver Broncos are going to send Emmanuel Sanders and a fifth round pick to the 49ers for a third round pick, and I believe there's also a seventh. Could be wrong about that. Um, Now for the Broncos, this is a decent trade for them. They've basically said that the season is going nowhere. Everyone is unhappy, especially Manuel Sanders, who's been uh, tweeting a lot that he has not enjoyed the season at all. And getting a third round pick for him, I mean, he's not a very top receiver anymore. He's 31 years old and his contract is coming up. So, I mean, I think it's a very good getter. Now, for the 49ers, this is actually very interesting because the 49ers have a very um, average receiver core. I mean, you got Dante Pettis, Debo Samuel, Trent Taylor, Jordan Matthews, but there's not really that number one guy. Not saying that Emmanuel Sanders could be that number one guy. He doesn't really fit that number one wide receiver slot, but I think he definitely could be number two, number three. Maybe a guy who could step up and show those younger receivers how it's done and even be that deep threat and could push the 49ers to an NFC title. So for both teams, it's decent. There's not really a winner, but there's not really a loser. Both teams got really good value for what they trade away, um, and it makes sense for both teams. So the next trade, the New England Patriots are going to send a second round pick for Mohamed Sanu from the 1-6 Falcons. So it's basically the same thing for the Falcons. They basically said that their offense isn't working. Matty Ice isn't getting anything going. Devontae Freeman hasn't had a very good rushing year, and they are regrouping. They don't think that this season is going to be any value of them, and they're just trying to get value for their players. And again, second round pick for Mohamed Sanu, a guy who's 28, who actually has been having a good couple of seasons for them, but obviously isn't someone that is going to push them to a title contender, especially this year. And getting a second round pick for him, I mean, not bad. Now for the Patriots, at first, when I thought of this trade, it didn't really make sense to me for them because a second round pick for Mohamed Sanu, that just seems like overvaluing him. Um, but then once I thought about it, the Patriots are going to be most likely in the Super Bowl. So that means they're going to have either 31 or the 32nd pick. So one of the last picks in the draft. So this pick isn't as valuable as someone like from the Broncos, like from the Miami Dolphins, the Cincinnati Bengals. So at the end of the day, it's going to probably be the 64th pick in the draft. It's not going to have a lot of value at that point. But I think it's still hard to get, especially when Mohamed Sanu. I mean, he's not going to be that number one receiver. You have Julian Edelman, you have Josh Gordon, you have all those great receivers that Tom Brady has to throw with. Um, but then there are a lot of also rumors swirling around that this could be Tom Brady's last year in a Patriots uniform, whether that's moving or retiring. So maybe they're just trying to push themselves over the edge so they can get one more title before he retires or before he moves. Um, but for me, it still feels like an overvalue for a guy who's 28, that's not going to get really any better. Who is a decent receiver, but again, it's not going to be the top receiver on the depth chart. And it's definitely not going to get as much targets as those two that we mentioned. Um, so I think the winners here are definitely the Falcons. While like I said, the pick is valued a lot. For Mohamed Sanu to get a second round pick, I think that's huge. And for the Patriots, I think it's a little bit overvalued. But again, if he gets you that one more title, I mean, hey, why not? So this wraps up another episode of Sports Tea. Next episode, we are going to be discussing role players and their overpaid contracts. Jaylen Brown, Pascal Siakam, their 115 to 130 million contracts. Discussing that. So we'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Sports Tea. This is your host, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.